Hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, depending on what time you are listening to this recording. My name is Joseph Afisu. I am a Microsoft MVP and MCT. And just to continue our conversation around configuring conditional access policy, today we are going to be looking at how to use conditional access policy to block legacy authentication. Legacy authentication refers to older methods of verifying user identity, and these rely only on basic authentication, right? Which often uses just username and password to get into the system. This actually using just username and password contradict or contrast with the modern authentication, which utilizes more secure protocol like the multi-factor authentication, right? So legacy authentication is less secure from the loop because it relies only on username and password, and therefore this make it vulnerable to attacks, right? Like password spraying, and even brute force attack. So just password alone is not enough, and therefore you may just want to quickly use conditional access policy to block legacy authentication. And how will you do that? You do that by going into the Entra Admin Center, cmd.ms, Microsoft Entra, come into Microsoft Entra, go into protection, open your protection, go to conditional access. When you get to conditional access, what are you going to do? You're going to see the option to create new policy. But there is a policy under policy from templates that covers for blocking legacy authentication. So you just want to click on this, which is like you want to use a custom. So if you look through um, all the presets that you have here, you could see you would see block legacy authentication. So you're just going to pick on this, and then you hit on review and create. At this first time, right, you do not have a lot of changes that you could make. It's just going to say block legacy authentication, and you have the option to rename the policy just to follow the convention, right? You can say CAP block legacy authentication, and then it gives you option to either turn it on right now, or you want to leave it off, or you want to leave it in report only, right? So we can just turn it on all the way, right? And then what we do is there is nothing here that you can at this point modify. I'll show you how to modify this, but that's after it is created. So by default, it's going to include all users and exclude the current user, the user who is signed into the system. And then because of that, it's going to just go ahead, and the grants is going to be like block. So cloud apps that are selected is all cloud apps, and the access control is going to be block access, right? So we click on create. So that policy is going to be available now when you come to policies. If it is not there, I'm just going to do a refresh and I should have it. Disable legacy authentication. So I'm just going to hit on refresh since I cannot find it on the list. And after this successful refresh, I should see that policy listed there for me. Okay, so this is just loading. I'm going to wait for it. So let's come back to policy. Okay, that's where we still are, right? So you can see conditional access policy. Where is block legacy authentication? Look at it here. Block legacy authentication. So what I would do is to open block legacy authentication, and now I can really modify further, right? So I now have the flexibility to look at it, to maybe look at what is here. It's saying it is assigned to all users, and who is excluded. You can see that it's excluding Joseph. So I can now also add users that I want to exclude. Let's say I want to increase the number of users that it should exclude. I can decide to bring up users, maybe just put this admin. Maybe that admin is probably the break glass account or something, so I can add more to it. That's what I'm trying to just say. And then you can also just exclude a particular group, but at the point that you were creating it from the template, you do not have these options. So you can still go ahead and create it using the template, and then come back to modify it, right? So if there are other things that you need to do within the policy as well, you can also just go ahead and just make those changes. And when that is, if that is fine by you, you can just click on save and the policy is updated. So with this, you've been able to block legacy authentication in your whole system, right? So this is how simple, straightforward it is. If you've not subscribed to this channel yet, you may just want to hit on the subscribe button. And if you have not liked this particular video, please like and even share with your friend, just so we can keep learning together. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope you're going to have a great day. Peace.